All right, thanks again for being here. We are joined by Rokisha Bryant, and before joining Cafe Momentum Nashville as the inaugural executive director, Ms. Bryant worked at the Oasis Center for 14 years. She received her bachelor's from TSU and her master's from Vanderbilt University Peabody College. She is the recipient of the Tennessee State University Community Partner of the Year Award, the Oasis Center Roy Hutton Vision and Action Award, and was nominated for the Nashville Emerging Leader Award. So those are all wonderful accomplishments, and we're so excited to hear from you today. So yeah, is there anything else you wanted to share about yourself?
No, I am really excited to be here with you all and appreciate your time. And so I think you captured it.
Awesome. So I was virtually introduced to Rokisha by one of my volunteers, Renee Dillard, who thought that it would be great for her to come and share about the program. So if you could just kind of, for folks who haven't had a chance to check out your website, if you wouldn't mind just sharing about your program and what you guys are doing.
Yes. And some people are it looks like I have the ability to admit people.
Oh, are there people waiting?
I just let someone in. And so once I start talking, I may have a difficult time doing both.
I'll try to keep a better eye on it. Thank you for doing that.
No problem. Okay, let me see if I have my shared stuff up. And so no, okay. I still see it, but I won't bother with it if you can do it as well. I just want to move in the waiting room. Okay. And so as Sarah mentioned, I am the executive director of Cafe Momentum Nashville, and Cafe Momentum is a part of a national expansion. It started 8 years ago in Dallas, Texas, with a restaurateur. His name is Chad Hauser, and he owned a Italian restaurant. And he had an opportunity to volunteer with young people at a detention center. And so after he volunteered with his young people to learn how to make ice cream, the young people won the ice cream competition. And he just walked away feeling very passionate about young people in the detention center. He also recognized on the ride home that once these young people left the detention center, some of the options that they had in life were limited, because they may have had labels placed on them. He recognized that they may not have exposure to certain things and different opportunities within the restaurant industry and hospitality field. Just recognizing some of the young people, I believe he said, were like, I'm going to leave here and go work at Wendy's, or, go work at KFC. And he was thinking there's so much more to the restaurant industry. And so he wanted to provide that experience to the young people. And he left his restaurant and started what we know today as Cafe Momentum, which is a nonprofit restaurant, culinary arts training facility, and a community service center. I think it's really important to point out that there's the community service center because a lot of people are not aware of that. That is the behind the scenes piece where all the magic happened for us to make sure that our young people reach their full potential. One of our slogans is, eat, drink, change lives. And our goal is for these young people to thrive instead of just surviving. And so 2019, a little bit more history, Judge Sheila Calloway, I'm sure most of you all on here have heard of her in some capacity. She went to Dallas, Texas for a church choir convention or something, and she had dinner at Cafe Momentum, and she just realized like something's different about this restaurant. I want to talk to the owner. And she told Chad at the time, whenever you all decide to expand, Nashville needs to be first. And he kept his promise. And so the National Collective went and started to scout out locations to decide where they wanted to place the first Cafe Momentum outside of Dallas, and Nashville was selected. We officially launched in 2021 when I was hired, and we have been building momentum since. Again, our ultimate goal is to have that restaurant that'll be forward facing, but behind the scenes, there's so much more. And we are currently fundraising so that we can have that brick and mortar restaurant, but we have since that time launched our mini internship program. And so I will show you a little bit of with this screen share, I'm visual, of what it is that we ultimately want to do. Hopefully everyone can see this. And this is our momentum model for juvenile justice. We are working with young people who are, affected by the juvenile justice system in some capacity. Because of the reform efforts of Judge Sheila Calloway, we recognize that we don't have as many young people as Dallas in the detention center for us to only work with young people exiting detention center. And so we work with young people through referral partners such as CASA or the Diversion DP2 efforts, Raphi Institute, Epic Girl, Real Program, any program that has those touch points for young people that are involved with the juvenile justice system, ages, again, 15 to 19, for us to provide them with holistic support for them to thrive instead of just surviving. Our ecosystem of support involves paid workforce development training, educational financial literacy, life skills, and social skills training. We also provide the young people with employment opportunities. I'm sorry, my voice is getting a little dry here. One second. I failed to mention when I first started, I like to have a dialogue. And so if you have any questions, you could really feel free to unmute and just ask me the question. It makes me feel like I'm involved, right? And not just speaking at you, but with you, which is one of the things that we do with our young people. We do things with them, not at them or to them. And so in Dallas, they're offering a 12-month paid internship. Young people are operating the front of the house and the back of the house, and they're receiving all of those supports for them to receive job placement upon completion. There's tiers of success. We offer case management, counseling, educational services, and then community access for things that may create barriers for their employment. The ultimate goal.
Quick question. I'm Jocelyn. I'm a volunteer from CASA under Sarah, but just had a quick question. I know that you mentioned that they have a paid internship for the full year. After that year, whenever they're looking at going into other fine dining restaurants and stuff, are there restaurants that y'all partner with?
Yes, there are. Restaurants, hospitality. We try to make sure we meet the young people where they are. And so most young people are going to let you know that they're not interested in cooking. They'll complete the program, and then it's our job to figure out what transferable skill sets they have that could help them thrive in other fields. And like I have young ladies that are in my program right now that are doing cosmetology. I've connected with a few of the blow bars in Nashville, so that once they finish their cosmetology license, or at least the program, they can do some apprenticeship and some training under that particular individual who's in cosmetology. Some of our young ladies are interested in being estheticians. Our young men, one of them said, I'm not trying to cook, I just want to work in a factory. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to find you a job in a factory, but he found it on his own. And then I check in with him monthly to see how he's doing. And I said, now, if you're ever tired of this, because it's about exploration. If you're tired of this factory job, we can find you something else. We've also partnered with the Tennessee Workforce and Labor Department to help them provide young people with additional resources. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah, thanks.
And so again, this is the momentum model. This is what we aim to do once we have a brick and mortar restaurant, because we will be providing all of this in one location for our young people. And the thing I wanted to point out is the hours of influence. We're talking about as much as we can be a part of their lives and influence them, then some of those negative influences, those risk factors are decreased. And then we could focus on those other things that help influence them so they can make better decisions and reach their full potential.
I have a quick question. With the therapeutic services, are those in-house with your organization, or do you guys partner with mental health facilitators?
We partner with mental health facilitators right now, because right now we're not at full capacity. And so I just wanted to kind of show you all, that's the ultimate plan.
Got it.
That is what we will be doing eventually. But we're having, we have to raise the funds, we have to build the restaurant and hire all the staff, right? And so right now we are very selective with the young people that we select for our program, because we want to make sure that they're able to get as many of those wraparound services as possible. We don't want to just take it all on. We really want to create that village, so to speak, around them. And so I have worked with, I don't see her on here, for instance, was it Skylar? She referred a young person. Well, I think a young person was referred to me by probation. The young person had her as a CASA worker. We found out the young person had a counselor. So a lot of times our young people are already given these opportunities to receive these services. They're just not coordinated and they're not tapping into them. And so for that young person, we were doing case management with him. We made sure we contacted, is Skylar McGinley, I believe was her name. And
It's Sky, yeah.
Sky. That's how I was like, I know I messed. Thank you. I didn't want to mess up her name. And so we had her reach out to the people she knew who he had services through, because he just wasn't accessing those services. And so that's what we're currently doing. I will pull up one more slide here, because we had to grow where we were planted. And so think of us as literally flying the plane while also building it. And so until we have our brick and mortar restaurant, we are slowly scaling up through our mini internship program. We offer 8 weeks. We're still, you notice the title here has changed, or at least the population, Justice Involved Youth, ages 15 to 19. And we're building self-sufficiency, advocacy, accountability, responsibility, things in our young people and interns right now, so that we can immediately connect them with employment partners, as opposed to waiting 12 months before we can do anything for them. We have pop-up dinners where we are going in and having our young people showcase their talent after graduation. Let me back up for a second. The 8-week mini program, which you can refer young people to, starting now, but it doesn't start until February 1st, excuse me. The mini internship program runs 2 days a week. We're having them do workforce development, life skills, social skills, 1 day a week. And then the opposite day, they're in the kitchen. They're learning all the different elements of running a kitchen, knife cutting skills, sauteing, basic prep, hygiene, safety, and they end our mini internship program with their food handler serve safe certification. We also have pop-up dinners for them to continue to participate. So we have a young person who graduated in January of this year who still participates with us, who also works at a factory. And so he's still gaining those skill sets. He's still a part of our continuum. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Rokisha, I have a question. I'm one of the team leads with CASA, and my main role is working with a lot of Hispanic and immigrant youth. So I guess I was curious if kids who don't have like legal work permission, if they could still participate in your program. Because for example, I have kids who they don't have a social security number. They can't legally like have a, W-2, all those kinds of things. So could they still, I know it would be more difficult for the job portion after, but could they still participate in your program? Do you know?
I want to say yes. I would just have to figure out what that looks like.
Sure, yeah.
And just stick, I could definitely follow up. But I'm going to say yes, for that particular internship, it is paid. We do pay them $10 an hour for the paid internship. Our January and March cohort, I was giving them gift cards because we had to set up our accounts and things. Now I do provide them with a check. They do have to fill out the IRS form, the W-9. And they're not reporting that until $600. And so I'm sure we're not going to leave those young people behind. It's just once they're finished with our internship program, we are trying to make sure under our financial literacy piece that they have bank accounts, that we're able to pay them with checks. And so there may be some barriers there that I would love to explore how to overcome. And I'm working with like Regions Bank and different things.
Yeah.
So always think through anything that holds young people back, regardless of their, background.
Sure. Yeah, and I'd be happy to connect with you after this too and see if we can brainstorm anything together, because I would hate for that to be a barrier, and I do know there are some banks that will let people with like a tax identifying number instead of a social security, they'll let them open accounts, but it is a barrier for sure. So let's definitely connect, but I'm happy to hear that y'all are thinking about that.
Yes, and I will give my business manager to think through a little bit as well. What's your name?
Anna May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just send me an email and we can talk.
I will. Yeah, absolutely.
And so again, after they graduate our 8-week program at $10 an hour, we do have those pop-up dinners, which usually happen about once a month, every other month. Our pop-up dinners are where we're partnering with fine dining restaurants. We're doing a complete takeover of their restaurant. The chef there provides us with the menu. The staff there works with our young people. This is an opportunity for them to have more exposure. And so we have partnered with Answer Restaurant, Henrietta Red, Marsh House, and Dinner with Friends, and St. Stephen's in Germantown. And so those are 5 different chefs, 5 different cuisines, 5 different restaurants. We're preparing our young people to walk in prepared so that they can just take over a restaurant, work with any chef. And I think that's a skill set that, oh, my phone, thought I cut it off. I must have cut it on. And so again, exposure, confidence, self-sufficiency, all of those things, in order to go into a restaurant and take it over, we definitely make sure our young people have the confidence to do that. And they're paid $15 an hour for those events. We also have
a quick question about those events.
Yes.
Jocelyn, again, as a consumer or as somebody who's on the opposite side of this, is there a way to find out when y'all are doing those pop-up dinners, or like ways that we can support y'all by going in and dining, or is it like ticketed, or how does that work?
They are ticketed events because there are fundraising events. If you sign up for our social media, make sure it's Cafe Momentum Nashville, or you'll get the alerts for Dallas. And someone purchased a ticket to a Dallas event, and I was like, no. And so Cafe Momentum Nashville, we're on Twitter, Facebook. What is the other one? Instagram, and then also newsletters. And so I could definitely send Sarah my email address for follow-up, as well as the link to sign up for the newsletter and the information for our social media.
Thank you.
Hey, Jocelyn, this is Sherry Taylor. I will say I've had the opportunity to attend one of the pop-ups, and it is incredibly well done. I will say, though, pay attention to when the announcement comes out about the event, because those tickets go quickly, but it's definitely worth your time and money and effort to go and see these young kids, these young adults really shine and be able to show what they've learned. So, and I really appreciate the fact that even though kiddos have finished the program, they're still invited back to participate in those pop-up dinners. So
I appreciate that endorsement, Sherry. I was going to say they sell out really, really fast. And so, put them on your notifications and alerts. We're trying our best to line up the calendar for the rest of the year. It's just easier said than done. And so stay tuned for that. And so I was going somewhere else with that, but I mean, any other questions at this point?
Does the internship mostly take place in the evening or on the weekends, or I'm assuming kids are in school?
I will make sure I send you our referral form and things of that nature as follow-up as well. And I will take this screen share off. We're doing 4 to 6 p.m. right now. And so the cohort that starts on February the 1st will be from 4 to 6 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Gotcha.
By the second cohort, which will start, I think 8 weeks later, because they're running 8 weeks, we take a week off. And so I'm planning accordingly, but I hope to add an additional day. Again, we're always wanting to just continue to and do those hours of influence.
Would there be any kind of juvenile offense that would prevent a youth from being able to be involved, like if they committed a violent offense or something of that nature?
The one that we want to avoid is any type of sex-related charges where they, because we're having them around other young people. And so to protect the other young people, nothing that I can't, if there's a better word than what I'm using, so my apologies, but any sexual abuse related crimes, rape, things of that nature.
Okay.
Sex crimes.
That's helpful.
I have a question.
Yes.
Keisha, hey, can we give your email out? I have a son-in-law who is an accountant specifically for restaurants. And if he comes up with somebody who's interested in connecting with you, can we just give them your email?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, if kids, if youth are kind of struggling to maintain their attendance in the program, do you guys make efforts to try to retain them? Or I imagine that happens sometimes. I'm just curious what that looks like.
It happens a lot. Thank you for asking. That's the importance of having another service provider. And so I would reach out to you all and say, hey, what's going on with John? And then you would be able to give me some insight. I may reach out to the probation officer. And so it's really the more the merrier. And we work with MSAC. And so just really using the village, and I can't state that enough. I know a lot of people use it, but we're really using it. And so we're in communication with family, friends. And so we are everywhere as much as we can be through our partners. And so we will try to get them back on track. Last year, we were very lenient. And so we did not dismiss any young people from our program, but similar to the work I've done for the last 15 years, if we can get the young person there, if we can get an endorsement from someone who knows them, and so a warm connection, a really, this program will be great for you, a nice connection to our program via a referral partner. And if they come 2 weeks, we usually have them. We don't have any problems after those first 2 weeks. Just getting their buy-in, like with any other program, is so important. Our program is technically not mandatory. And so when I say that, I have had a few probation officers refer young people and let them know if you miss a day, you're kicked out of the program. And I had to let the young person know, unless the probation officer specifically calls me and asks for a report, I don't report out to anybody about our young people. And so case by case basis, really want to leave room for everyone to thrive in their own space based off their own treatment plan and own needs.
I'm just curious if there's an idea for where in Nashville you guys are hoping to have your restaurant, or is it just kind of up in the air right now?
We are currently negotiating a lease for a space in North Nashville.
Yay, I was hoping you were going to say that.
For all the obvious reasons, bus line, and we have young people coming from all the spokes, and so if we could get somewhere that's centrally located, or we can also have our guests come and make sure we're providing that fine dining experience. And so that's the area that we're looking at right now.
Okay, wonderful.
I was going to show one more thing because I think it'll be helpful. I will send this out to you all. Again, just the mini internship program. Again, it'll be February 1st through March 23rd. I have Tuesdays on here, but we probably will just do Wednesdays and Thursdays for this first cohort, recognizing that it's still the fall, right? It gets dark so late. So early, and we're bringing on new people every day. And so to build capacity for our staff, we meet at Riverside Revival in East Nashville, which is the Bodecker Collaborative Campus. There's about 10 different nonprofits there. There is a culinary arts kitchen in the basement, a commercial kitchen with over 10 different restaurateurs, food trucks that are preparing their meals down there. And so it's a really nice environment for our young people to be in. And, here are the requirements, really simple. We just want young people that are interested and they understand the benefit of the program. And no one's better to do that than a strong referral partner. We do provide the stipends for them, bus passes, which young people could use their school ID for bus passes. Truthfully, 2022, I only had 2 young people catch buses. Only 2. Young people are Ubering. And so we worked out a way where we can help them with some Uber. We will have a van here soon. And that's why I said February, we'll probably just do 2 days, but going into that next cohort, we may step it up to 3 days because by then we'll have our van and we can provide them with transportation. Once they go ahead.
I was just saying, awesome. Transportation is such a key factor in all of it.
Yes, I'm always mindful that this is a workforce development program. And so the more I do for them that's unrealistic, when I transfer them to an employment partner, I've kind of created learned helplessness. I'm figuring out that balance every day. My background is positive youth development, counseling, case management, all of that. But it's like there's a workforce development piece here where it's totally unrealistic for your boss to come get you and bring you to work, and so I really cross each bridge. I need to know that the young person needs transportation assistance. I don't want to do it for everyone, and so I really try to meet those young people where they are. And I don't take cookie cutter approaches as much as possible, but try to be as fair as possible.
That makes sense.
We do have, and so I have a referral form for partners that I'll send to you. It's a 1-pager. It's super simple. However, I do also have a link that I love for our referral partners to share with the young person, because we want them to complete it like a job application. And so trying to, again, simulate a work experience as much as possible. If you refer them and they're a good fit, they're already in the program, but making sure they fill out that application, because that's them answering the questions, and I can match up your referral form with their answers based off their online application. But we really want them to do that, not, to get them in the habit of doing that. Some of the topics that we're covering are based off the restaurant readiness curriculum for the National Restaurant Association. And so that's listed here. So I will send this 1-pager, the referral form, our social media handles, our newsletter link, as well as my email to you all here soon.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
Are you familiar with our Starfish program?
No.
Well, this might be a good venue to give a plug for it, since we're all here and we have volunteers. Sherry, do you want to share a little bit about it?
Sure. So our Project Starfish is a program, a newly established project for CASA Nashville, where we have typically only served kiddos with neglect and dependency. Through Project Starfish, we're able to serve kiddos who have juvenile justice involvement with a documented history of abuse and neglect. So that project started in March of this year, and we're continuing to grow that. I think some of the people on this call may have participated in working with a kiddo. Sarah, I know Anna's on a case now. Rokisha Sky was involved in that program. That was her CASA kiddo was involved in the Project Starfish case or Project Starfish program. Okay. And anybody that has questions, or if you haven't heard about it, there's Jessica. Yes, Jessica is on the Project Starfish case right now that hopefully is ending soon. But I will just say, anyone that is working specifically with a Project Starfish kiddo, or you're working on a traditional neglect and dependency case and your kiddo happens to pick up a charge, happens to land in detention for some reason, or is struggling in some way, making sure that they're aware of this program, making sure that the probation officer that you're working with is aware of this program, because I do think that it really sets the bar to help empower these kiddos in a way that was kind of lacking before. And I really appreciate that, Rokisha. I can't remember what you said, that you have to grow where you're planted, and the fact that you guys are able to kind of work from where you are in Nashville, taking what was already kind of the foundation and best practice from Dallas and bring that here and create it in a way that works for Nashville is really amazing. So I would just ask if you could maybe speak just briefly about the catering that you guys are also able to do.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate you helping me out, because I'm like, there's so much. And I wanted to also point out something you said. We say juvenile justice involved, and I'm working with Meharry and Vanderbilt to further describe that. ISS, if a young person is repeatedly expelled from school and they had contact with the SRO officers, to me, that counts as juvenile justice contact. And so I'm trying to be as liberal as possible in that description, until I have to start doing some reporting for the government and really nail it down. And I'm working on that definition. I want it to be an operational definition that we can really do some research on. And so we're not a prevention program, but I think school, we all know, can become the beginning of the prison pipeline for a lot of these young people. And so in 2023, we are going to move into the school system more and work with those repeated offenders in school who are just one step away from actually having the juvenile justice contact.
I love that. And even though you said that you're not a preventative program, I feel like that is like prevention. I mean, that's stopping that school to prison pipeline, or attempting to mitigate some of those factors. So yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, and you ask about catering. We are doing limited catering right now. Limited meaning we have to build our workforce up. And so we need referrals because, again, we had like 30 young people go through our program last year. We have 12 that I'm still in contact with, which I think is great. But then out of those 12, we have about 8 that I can call on at any time. So I'm like a temporary employer. And so we're doing limited catering until we build out more staff, more young people. And that looks like 100 past apps for up to 100 people, or plated dinners for up to 30. And so unfortunately, we're not at the place where we could do a buffet for 200 people because we want to make sure we're really particular about the experiences that we are providing for them as well. We do have some catering contracts that we have secured, one of them being the Predators. And so we do provide lunch, dinner to the Nashville Predators after their home games to the players about once or twice a month. And so we just want to, as we get more young people, we can take on more catering jobs. Any questions about that or anything else?
I think it's really great that you're going to be reaching out to the schools. That's pretty outside the box thinking, but I'm curious if you're going to reach out to alternative learning centers as well. Yes,
that's the plan. Who did I reach out to? Dr. Springer, I think, over student services. And so I just kind of went straight to, I'm very mindful of my capacity. And so, like I said, we will be hiring more staff in the new year. And I just wanted to reach out to someone who could maybe make sure it's funneled down. But I have made contact with a few schools individually. And so I really want someone to help push as much as possible. Yeah.
Well, folks, do we have any other last questions?
Or suggestions? I'm open to suggestions and feedback. Or any contacts that like, you need to talk to this person. So suggestions, feedback, contacts, connections, please.
Well, if folks get in touch with me after today with thoughts or ideas, I'm happy to pass those along. But otherwise, if there's no other questions, just want to be respectful of your time.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I am an email away. And so I look forward to having some referrals from you all. Again, February 1 will start. And so if you have anyone in mind, send them our way.
Thank you so much. You are awesome. And we appreciate you so much for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you.